God. Oh, good afternoon. I didn't see you there. I was enjoying my Tamdu 10-year. Not much of a drinker, but picked this bad boy up and thought I'd give it a try while I was thinking, putting my thoughts together for this video. You can smell the toffee and the fruits. It's very heavy on the sherry, I think. Absolutely delicious. Absolutely delicious. Just give me a minute. Sorry, I have horrific GERD, by the way, just by genetics. So, not big on drinking a lot, but I thought it would kind of fit the theme of the video. I'm gonna have a little water here from the new LFC mug got for my birthday. I'm a December baby. We're naturally depressed, but either way, my wife got me this, and it's wonderful. And speaking about the video today, I wanted to base the video today on kind of our expectations as fans and where we... that was so gross. Sorry. For those of you that are Scotch drinkers, I think Tamdu is a 10-year single malt. By what I can taste and the expense of it, I would hope that it kind of rates for some of you. I have no idea. For me, it's just literally instant reflux. So I'm not sure. I'm probably going to be burping throughout the episode, and I apologize. And this is definitely going to hurt me into the night. So it was done for a reason. I wanted to look at kind of our expectations, as fans. I came in and started supporting Liverpool in 2007. That's kind of where I first became cognizantly aware of football. Not the Americanized version that I knew of being soccer, or the American football that I grew up playing myself. I had a lot of friends that played soccer themselves, and I don't, for whatever reason, maybe it's where I'm from, it was just not really an appreciated sport. It kind of fell in line with tennis and these kind of foreign sports that, see, there it is, these foreign sports that just really didn't strike home. For us, it was, you played baseball, you play basketball, or you play, American football. In that sense. And so that's what I did. And so I kind of existed within that shell. I moved to the northwest of the United States, which actually had, at the time, a fairly decent and well-established, nothing compared to Europe, of course, or to the British Isles, but by comparison and to what you would see in most of the rest of the United States, had a fairly well-established soccer city USA, as they called it, the Kings of Cascadia, this footballing group between what would be Vancouver, kind of British Columbia, Seattle, Washington, and Portland, Oregon. And this was, in fact, Cascadia. And so they had kind of, developed this love, this kind of passion for soccer that didn't really exist anywhere else in the United States, starting from the 70s on. So as I got introduced to real football, that's kind of where it started. I started to watch the Portland Timbers, and then realized, very quickly in kind of transitioning to the Premier League, that there was some real quality history, and just this insanely massive sport that I had been ignorant to for pretty much my entire life. So, fast forward these many years, and I remember when we won the Premier League, sitting on my bed watching the TV. And obviously a lot had happened in that year, and I was overcome with emotion, but I also felt very little by comparison. It's kind of hard to verbalize. Contrasting to the previous year when we had won Champions League and came within a point or so of actually winning the double there and winning the Premier League, I remember being so jealous of all of you, many of you who may watch this, if I ever get viewers, but many of you who watch this, being so jealous of kind of the culture that surrounded it. Maybe you were in Liverpool and you greeted the team in the bus and kind of in the league parade as they came back. And I remember being so jealous, but even from afar, this hasn't always been, since 2007, this has been my team. And I might be a little intoxicated. And from like actually I had a little bit before this because I wanted to test it out so I wouldn't be completely blind. So I might actually be a little buzzed. But anyway, it's I just remember being so proud and so excited for the team when we won, Champions League, especially off the back of the kind of the previous runners up, and what happened with Mo and Ramos. There was so much kind of frustration and stuff there. So I was so happy for the team. And what I felt actually when we won the Premier League after so many years was I felt sadness. I felt sadness that the players were celebrating it in an empty stadium. And I understand by comparison to other things going on in the world, people actually dying in this pandemic, that this is nothing. And so I'm not comparing the two. I'm saying in the vein of what this is. And I just noticed that my social media box is like all over the place because I actually pulled something down here. So we're going to pull that straight just so it stops bothering me a little bit. But no, I just remember, feeling sad. Just thinking that if I was a team that had accomplished this, and not necessarily the only team to have done so. If you looked at, Rangers kind of up north, again, the Reds are my team, so I'm not comparing the two. I'm just saying they too won. Many other teams would win the leagues, their respective leagues, and not really find that celebration. I think at the time it was, we will find a time and a place when we can celebrate this. And I don't think that ever actually came. Not really. And so, I'm drinking it to not waste it because it was expensive. It's gone. I'm done with it. So, anyway, it's just not pleasant. I mean, it's just not. Because my dog's probably reacting to me. Either way, I remember it was kind of weird too because in that scenario, I think that Chelsea beat Man City or drew, and I should know this, but it's not on my brain at the moment. And so I remember the lads being at the hotel and finding out that they had won, and we were not in a great run of form then, having come back from that long COVID pause. We were not in a great run of form, and so even though it was pretty much assured, I think that we were kind of all a little nervous as to how it was going to go. But you do it. They did it. They won it. Nobody can take that from them. But I just remember being sad. I remember wanting to talk to people, and a lot of this is the basis for the founding of this channel. I remember wanting to have a community that I could go to talk to, and that bar had since shuttered, and there's not while there is a fan base, interestingly enough, in my own neighborhood, I wouldn't say that I talked to a great number of my neighbors, but for a number of years the only neighbor that I seemed to communicate with was behind me and happened to be a City fan, which, so, we did not, communicate often, and every once in a while a nod to on game day. But, I think aside from that, I was kind of out here on my lonely island, and I just kind of wanted to form a channel where I could start talking to, other Liverpool fans and other fans of the game, and just start, becoming a part of that community, because it is very expensive to travel to, to England. It's very expensive to travel to Europe, and especially from across the pond. And so, how many opportunities I'll get to do that in my lifetime, I just don't know, and would very much like to make the pilgrimage to Anfield to see it all. But I just don't know. Everything's always just kind of, up in the air. So, I think what I wanted us to do is this has been a frustrating season, because we've seen, as it always is, we've seen our team excel, and then we've seen our team stumble. And I think off the back of last season, which was this idea that typically you go into the next season to defend your title, and to see Van Dijk injured in such a way, and then to see Thiago go out, soon after, and then to see Joe Gomez kind of go out, and then the litany of issues, and then to kind of follow that up with a pretty limp transfer window, and then to see this idea of Super League and all of the anger that came from that, and then our own countries and the things that we're all experiencing right now. It all kind of flooded into there being a lot of pressure put on the boys this season. And, I think that our expectations of them are right and proper. It's fun and it's fine to get into the games and to get super angry and to get pissed. And if you're able to watch a live watch along with me, then you'll certainly see that I do get angry and frustrated and pissed. And I think that people look at these fan channels. I think that they look at Redmond, they look at AA, Anfield Agenda. I think they look at these fan channels and they see the frustration, and I'm not going to speak for them, but I think that they would agree. It's not the same that we see, all the time on AFTV, where it's this kind of false hysteria. What it is when you truly know what your team is capable of. You know what a specific player is capable of, and you see them, stumbling or having these longer periods, Mane being one of them, where you just go, I know what an incredible player you are. And he's sitting there doing medical tests in his off season and doing everything he can to try to figure out why his form is bad. So we act like it doesn't affect him. It does affect him because he wants to know, what's happened. And I think that he has slightly improved over his form from last year, but I think he's got a long way to go. But, these players care very much as well. And I think that when we march around and we say you'll never walk alone, I think that has to mean something. And it doesn't mean accepting this kind of, accepting, a bad player. But when you see somebody who's given for the badge, who's given for the shirt, who's given for the Reds, I think that we have to, at times, help them out. So it can be very frustrating sometimes to read the fan forums. And I think, like I said, I think these other channels have done a really good job of kind of curbing the fan bases and saying, look, guys, you got to understand that this is, what these players are going through, the things that might be in their heads and everything else. So it's not about saying that you cannot say what you need to say without it being seen as being negative. Everybody has their opinion, but it's about kind of this understanding, this compassion to say that, in the time that I've been a fan since 2007, if you go back over it, that was under Rafa. If you come up under Rafa, and Fernando Torres was our top scorer back then, and these are back in the days of Agger and Skirtle. Carragher was still in the team, and Gerrard, and based on the period of time up until Klopp, yes, we had a few decent seasons, and we had the famous season where we ended in second with Rodgers, and again, the team accomplished that. They worked very hard, and it was, unfortunately, the slip, and that's, something where you don't beat up such a good steward of the club. But in that period of time, we were an average sixth place team. That's where we tended to finish on average. So 7th, 8th, 6th, 4th on occasion, but we averaged at 6th place. And under Klopp, we've averaged, second in terms of where our total, comes in. Obviously, you're taking that outlier season where he came in kind of in late October with Brendan and kind of had to start to assert his team. But, since he's come in, he's 2016 we were 4th, 2017, we were 4th, but that's when we were the runners-up in the Champions League and Salah was injured. And then 2018, we're second in the league, barely. Almost took the Prem that year, but then did win Champions League. And then we win it in 2019. 2019 was just Liverpool's year, It was just, we won, the Club Cup, we won, the Super Cup, you win the Premier League. And for a lot of those players, those victories were in silence. Those victories, I remember a lot of people in Liverpool going out and celebrating it, but for the rest of us, it was kind of something that came. We celebrated it quietly in our own homes, under quarantine, and then it just kind of went. And I just don't want us all to forget that when we start getting frustrated seeing ourselves in third. And yes, there's a bit of a gap with City. And yes, we definitely do need to make moves in the transfer window. But I want everybody to remember, because I don't know how much longer we're going to have Klopp. Klopp was very deliberate in what his, how much time he was going to spend at Dortmund. And I would say to some extent he's been fairly deliberate about how much time he's going to spend at Liverpool. And I don't know that we've got him for a great deal longer. And so I think that there are just times where we should kind of step back and be appreciative of, the groundwork that he's laid and kind of what he's built here. And, credit where it's due. While we may be super frustrated with FSG right now because it felt like they backed Klopp maybe a little bit early on, and then I guess we've just been kind of spending Coutinho money. Again, we've netted. You can certainly, show frustration over FSG. They're putting money into continuing to kind of build up the stadium and to bring in kind of that type of infrastructure. and I've got just as many issues with FSG as anybody else has, which is to say that I'm very comfortable in kind of understanding American ownership and what that may mean for a club. So at the end of the day, just as we're making all these videos and we're watching our team, and I'm picking on players that are playing against Shrewsbury, and I'm getting ready to kind of do this Arsenal watch along this week, I don't want anybody to misinterpret what it is that I'm saying, what it is that I believe Redman and AA are saying without me speaking for them. I think, again, we say you have no idea how much we believe in you as a team and how all of us fans feel. And to see you do that is to see you not live up to your talent. And we are this passionate because we do bear such love for the club. So I just thought it bared mentioning, and just thought it would be kind of funny to do it maybe a little bit in this type of format. So anyway, I appreciate everybody tuning in. Again, if you're liking what you're seeing on the channel, I would appreciate a subscribe. I took the subscribe bar down. I was getting a little sad being empty. I mean, I do have a very small number of subscribers, but it won't really show it unless it's over a certain amount. So, maybe drop a like, comment. Where were you? Where were you when we won the league? And were you like me? Were you alone? Are you a fan from Peru that doesn't really have a group to go to? Do you live in Chile? Do you live on the west coast of the United States? Are you in Canada and you're a Reds fan? I mean, it's just, where are you? And where are we all in terms of how we think the season's progressing and our kind of support and love for the team. So anyway, I appreciate you tuning in and hanging in there with me, and I'll catch you next time. Take care. Bye.